Hi everybody, let's learn about the do's and the don'ts when it comes to vertical farming. So when it comes to vertical farming, it's a concept that is highly accepted in Kenya. But the key thing that I ask many people is that, do you know how you're supposed to maintain them? Do you know what you're supposed to do so that you can at least have consistent harvest when it comes to this gardening system? Now let's learn about them. Vertical gardening is a concept that is wonderful. You're able to plant plants within a small area and the harvest is going to be bumper. But the main question comes in when it comes to maintaining them. How are you able to maintain them? We have different kind of vertical gardens. For us, we have the we have the drum ones, we have the mitungi ones, we also have the fabric ones. So from all these concepts that we have in the market when it comes to vertical gardens, how are you supposed to maintain them? There are the ones that are trending are the hydroponic gardening systems that we have because they have little maintenance. Okay, so let's delve into all these vertical gardens. How are you supposed to maintain them? What are the do's? What are you not supposed to do? So the first key thing is when setting up the structure. Any structure that you're going to set up for a vertical garden, ensure there is sunlight in all directions. If not, you're going to have one side which the produce is very good, but there are other sides that the produce is not okay. So you have to ensure that the sun is throughout. The next thing I'd like you to do is this. Ensure that the structure that you have is steady. It's not a structure that is going to shake. It's not a structure that is going to fall when you have it. It's a structure that is going to be maintained throughout. A structure that haitaanguka at one point or the other. Or maybe what I've said, haitaanguka means it's not going to fall. The other thing is, when it comes to now maintaining structures that are made, you're not using hydroponic systems, you're either using the conical gardening systems, you're using like the designs that we have. How are you going to maintain them? First thing is you do the installation. You have a very good harvest, the first one. Then you plant the second one and you like yourself, what have I done wrong? So I'm going to show you how you're supposed to do it. The first thing is, the initial mixture that you made was beautiful. It was wow. You never had the first installation was maybe it was a lot of work, but as time went on, you kind of lagged behind because after the first harvest and you want to plant again, remember at first you had made a mixture, so all the nutrients that you had, they've been utilized. So the key thing that you need to do is ensure that you make another mixture. If the structures are steady, you can either remove the mixture like I'm doing in the video and then mix up again with either the composting mixture that you have or the compost that you have or maybe the fertilizer that you wanted to use, so that at least when you are planting the next time, you are able to have the same harvest. The common mistake that we have is that people think that when it comes to maintenance of vertical gardens, once I install it, I'm good to go. And that is a huge misconception. What you need to do is that once you install the gardening system, ensure that the first harvest is okay. But if in case you had planted maybe some kales, you had planted some verticals, you had planted some spinach, and then afterwards you need to remove them either to plant either some lettuce, some strawberries. This is what I'm going to advise you. The mixture that you had early, the nutrients have been depleted. So what you're going to do is that you kind of unatoa like I'm doing, or maybe if you feel that the structure cannot be removed, ensure that the mixture is a bit late that you had and you mix it with manure. It can either be cow manure, it can either be we have goat manure, and you also have chicken manure. You have to ensure you remove it if the structure is not steady. If the structure cannot be removable, you just mix the soil with the manure and then you're good to go. So like I'm doing right now is that I'm removing the mixture that was there before and I'm going to mix it again with either manure and if I have organic fertilizer, I'm going to mix it, and then afterwards I'm going to be able to plant. Now The other thing is, when it comes to these vertical gardens, if yours you're using the manure, you're using the cow dung, goat manure or chicken manure, ensure that you have when you mix the mixture, let's say the buckets of soil that you have, they're like 10 buckets. For if you're using cow dung, you can use also 10 buckets of cow dung. The ratio is 1:1, and then you mix. You're going to have a huge volume of the mixture because it's a bit new. If the soil that was in the vertical gardens was 10 buckets, then you only need 5 buckets of the soil that was in the vertical garden and 5 buckets of the manure. And then after you mix it, you need to kind of set it aside. Don't plant immediately. What you need to do is water it. Whether you're using chicken manure, whether you're using goat manure, or whether you're using cow dung, water it. Water it for like 2 weeks before you plant, so that at least the nutrient could have mixed well with the soil, and then afterwards you can be able to plant the plants that you want. And then after that harvest, don't be lazy and say, because I've planted, I'm expecting the same harvest. No, remove the mixture like I'm doing, and then afterwards mix it with your manure. If you have manure, mix it with the organic fertilizer, and then afterwards water it. Give it 2 weeks, give it 3 weeks, and then at that time you can be having your your plants or your seedlings umezipanda kando, and you're waiting for them to be ready. Once they're ready, you've already prepared the vertical garden, so once they're ready you can be able to transplant them. So let's say the transplanting period takes like from seed to transplanting, it takes a month. So during that time that you set your seed bed, the same time you've mixed your manure with your soil, and then you set your bags or your vertical garden aside for a month, and then you've watered it, and then the nutrients have managed to be fully distributed throughout the mixture, and then afterwards you're able to plant your plants, and the harvest is going to be very good. So one thing is, don't be lazy when it comes to farming in vertical gardens. Once you have the first harvest, don't expect the same results. If you're not going to add nutrients to your garden, they have to be added continuously. After you've done, ongeza your fertilizer. If it comes to either foliar fertilizer, it's going to be spraying. If you have a liquid fertilizer, then use it. But the key thing is, for every set of new plants that you want to grow, ensure you start mixing the soil again. Don't say, I'm just going to use a liquid fertilizer. No, just try use when either you're going to buy compost such as vermicompost, that is okay. And then the next thing is, when I talked about the study structures, make sure you study. It's not haitaanguka, it's not going to fall at any one point. Also ensure that sunlight is in all sides. Just ensure that the sunlight is in all sides, and you're good to go. You're going to get good harvest. Thank you. Another thing I forgot to say about vertical gardens is there is need for you to ensure your mixture is light. As you can see, my mixture has some white parts. I had mixed with vermiculite, I had mixed with some cocoa peat to ensure it's a bit light, and it was easy for me to remove it from the vertical garden. If yours is not, if maybe you're not able to access such resources, I'd advise you is that when you're mixing the soil, you're mixing the compost, add some sand, the common sand that we have, and also add some leaves. So this one is going to assist in loosening the mixture, because sometimes you realize that if you're using soil, the soil tends to harden, and removing it is an issue. So to ensure that your mixture is a bit lighter, you mix it with sand, mix it with leaves, then mix it with cow dung or goat manure or the chicken manure, and also some soil. This is going to assist in lighting you, making the mixture to be light, at least that when you're removing the second time, it's going to be easier for you to work with. And the moment that you're adding some leaves, the dry leaves, if it's avocado, if it's from a tree, well and good. As long as the leaves that you have, they're not from acidic, they are trees that produce acidic stuff, and they are not good for your soil. So what you need to do is, when you mix it with the leaves, it's going to compost, and that is going to assist in making a better mixture for your soil. It's going to come with some compost and still going to be lighter. So when you remove it, it's going to be easier for you, and the mixture is going to be very much okay.